I'm Christy from SourPatchChef, and today what we're going to do sounds really simple, but we're going to do a really good grilled cheese. I'm really picky about grilled cheeses. I want them to be golden brown on the outside and completely melted on the inside and warm on the inside. And then I also like to spice it up with, I like to put different types of cheeses. You can put ham. Tonight I'm going to do horseradish sauce. You could do, I mean, there's so many things you could do. I'm going to go for the basics so I can show you some tips on how to get it nice and golden brown on the outside, but all the way melted on the inside. Alright, so the first step to having a really great grilled cheese is the best ingredients. So what we have here, this is a sourdough bread. You can see it's pretty thick. I got this one from Sourdough Boulangerie. It really makes a difference in this grilled cheese because it's hearty enough, it's not going to fall apart, and it's going to hold all the crunch that we want. The next part is really good butter. I have it softened. Don't want it cold because then it's going to rip your bread. Don't do what I do and leave it in the microwave longer than normal and then have a plate full of butter. I have some different types of cheeses. You can even fancier cheeses if you like. I am doing, let's see, we have a Munster and we have an extra sharp cheddar. Just as long as you have one cheese that's really melty, and that's going to be the cheese that goes on next to the bread. So that's the cheese that goes touching the bread, and then the other cheese that you have for good flavor, it's going to go in between. I also have ham because I'm hungry, and so I'm like, oh, I'm going to put some ham in there. I've got horseradish sauce. You could make your own. It's Friday night. I am not making my own, and I have some really good Dijon mustard I'm going to add in there. I also like to add, I had a really good friend make this delicious condiment. It's this like crispy chili garlic. So I like to put that on there. And then later on, I will show you some tips on how to change it. The other thing that's really key is to have a pan that's big enough that you can put both slices of bread face down at the same time in the pan. Don't use your rinky-dinky little egg pan. You're going for the big guy here. In this pan, I have a little bit of avocado oil. You just want to use a high heat oil. So I've got my bread buttered. You can see I didn't leave anything left out. That butter is what's going to crisp up your bread, give it that golden brown color. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sprinkle some, I like to play around with different spices. I got smoked serrano sea salt for a little spice. You could do, I do Tony's, I've done smoked paprika, I've done herbes de Provence, like you can do all kinds of things. I just like to give it a little something extra. I also have the oil in the pan heating up on about a medium heat. You don't want to get it too hot at first because if the bread gets too cooked on the outside here, if it starts to cook too fast, your cheese won't get melted before the bread is overcooked and burned. So I've got it nice and toasty, so I'm going to put it butter side down after I sprinkle on this serrano salt. Something I also wanted to mention about the salt, you don't want to do a salt-based spice on here if you're using salted butter. You're going to put this in here. I'm going to take this, put this in here. You see it fits perfectly. My two little pieces, well, they're not little. I'm going to put on my horseradish. And I love spice, so I'm gonna go heavy. I'm gonna put my Munster on. And so notice my placement in cheese. My Munster went there, but it didn't cover the whole thing. So I want, when I flip it, or when I put them together, this part is covering this part. Then I'm gonna put my cheddar smack dab in the middle. And you know what, I'm feeling a little crazy. I'm gonna put a second piece of cheddar on, all right. So I put that second piece of cheddar on, because why not? I also put a couple pieces of ham. If you want it really piping hot or you're picky about hot foods, what I would do is I would wrap this in a wet paper towel, heat it up in the microwave for like 10 seconds, or heat it up on your pan ahead of time. Now I'm going to put my chili garlic, my crispy chili garlic condiment on. My friend is so sweet, she made homemade jars of it for us because we're obsessed. We put it on everything. So you can see, if you look around the edges, the cheese is already starting to fold over the edge. Like it's starting to melt, especially that Munster. The cheddar, it's gonna take a little bit longer. So I actually turned the heat down even more. I turned it down to a medium low because I don't want my bread to get brown before my cheese is melted. Otherwise it might burn. All right, cheese is nice and melted. So I'm gonna flip this guy over on top of here. Notice my spatula, it's a skinnier one and it's longer so I can get on all the way underneath. You can use whatever spatula you want. You don't have to go out and buy a special spatula, but I did because I was at IKEA and I was like, grilled cheese spatula. I'm gonna get underneath. I'm gonna flip it, oh my gosh. And we're gonna cook that for about a minute on this side, minute on the other side, and then I'll cut into it and show you what it looks like. You know what makes me so happy? There's this little pocket, there was this little hole in the bread and this pocketed cheese just melted into that. So I guarantee you that's me, my first bite. And look, the cheese is about to spill over the sides. It's so melty. And I got that nice golden brown crisp. I wish it had gotten a little bit more on this side, but that's okay. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna cut into it. Oh yeah, look at that. I just put it over on that other side that was a little light for about not even a minute. It was like 10 seconds. Okay, and now we are done. I'm gonna show you what this guy looks like on the inside. So I'm just gonna cut in. Oh yeah, you hear that? Just listen. Look at this. It's like oozing out the side. It's like, it looks like I put a fried egg in there. That's how melty it is. And it's golden brown and it's delicious. And we are gonna try a bite. Even though it's hot. It's got this bite of horseradish. It's got a little saltiness from the smoked serrano salt. It's got the crispiness from the bread being toasted, from that chili garlic, crispy chili garlic condiment, and the cheese is just like oozing out. So I'm gonna go enjoy this. I hope that you will keep watching videos and check us out, and cooking classes are coming soon.